Ramon, you're muted.
It's my turn to fuck up. Oh shit! It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen.
Rob loves this intro every time.
I know. One day we'll get it right. So Ramón Pérez and
Eric Vedder,
and we're here for Make Shit Mondays.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Again,
number 4. What are you drinking tonight? Well, I'm going back to my healthy choice.
Me neither.
Tequila.
I've got one of my favorite rye whiskeys here, Bareface.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
This has actually been a favorite tequila of mine. It's clean, it's neat with a little bit of vanilla and pepper. I just drink it over ice, and it's lovely.
Nice, buddy. Nice.
Yeah. Well, cheers to today.
Cheers indeed. Bonk. Boom. That's a way to start.
Yeah, there you go. We need to do that before. Maybe it'll actually line us up a little bit.
No, I like this because there's a good chance of us screwing up. So,
so what have you been working on?
Since
I last saw you.
Good old Arden. So, Sheldon and I have some. We had a bit of a. As I said last podcast, we had a retreat there and we talked about some things, and we got a good plan for August. And he just sent me a latest update to some prose and for the story, and it's really cool. So pretty excited.
Very cool, man. And
today I'll just be drawing more of the illustration I was kind of working on last time. I'm going to do a different part of that illustration, so that's kind of what I'm working on. But,
very cool, man.
What about you, buddy?
Well, I just got out of a crazy deadline for Stillwater, so I just wrapped that up and spent the weekend doing unfun stuff like taxes, paperwork, and all that joyous stuff that we have to catch up on every so often. And so today I'm actually going to dive into some of my own stuff, which will be, I think, some Kookaburra. I'm going to kind of... It's been a while since I've been trying to get back into it, so I figure I need to kind of warm myself up to the characters again. It's been almost a year since I've drawn them. I have some layouts for pages, but I need to kind of like warm up to the characters again. So I'm just going to do a little bit of warming up, and then hopefully by next week when we start doing this, I'll have full pages to start working on. So that's
cool.
Because I want to start updating that very, very soon.
Yeah, you should. It's amazing. There's a lot of fans out there that are waiting for it already.
Yeah, so, it's a story I really want to finish, and it's amazing how we can keep putting these things on the back burner. As we discussed with Carl last week, actually, as you get older, you're like, time is running out, the clock is ticking, I need to get this shit done, so, but yeah.
That's why we started this, right? Is an excuse to get together and not only an excuse to get there. Hello, Mama Deadhead, already
Hey, Sarah, how you doing?
Okay, right on.
Yeah, and then beyond that, this week we're also going to start diving into the Forceful print edition, because we just finished the Kickstarter like a few weeks ago for Dax Gordian, who was our first guest on here, and we're taking his book to print at the end of the month, so to have ready for stores and fulfillment in September. So it's gonna be a busy month, but lots of cool shit on the plate.
Yeah, and, for work-wise for Warframe, we have a big update going out July 6th.
Yeah,
that's right. I think that's tomorrow. So
yeah, you're right.
I think, Rob will show a screen share of this later on. Maybe we can post a link in the comments to everybody if they want to take a look at what we're there. Oh, there it is.
Oh, nice.
Very cool. So that's the website. He'll shoot the link to it in the comments.
So next week they'll be our sponsors, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe. So pretty excited to get this out. It's a big update, and it's really cool. And there's an interesting thing that I got to do specifically for this update, and we can talk about it probably next week when it's live. So.
Oh shit, nice! I'm looking for that. Yeah. And I guess speaking of video games and design and animation, we have a pretty awesome guest with us today.
Yes, we do.
We've known Katie for quite a few years in the industry, KATIE SAWATSKY, and she is one talented, amazing individual. Every time I see new stuff from her, I'm blown away. So let's bring her on. Roberto, there she is.
Hello.
How you doing, Katie? Oh. It's just Sawatsky. There you go. I like it.
Oh, we lost Ramon.
We lost what?
I don't see your camera.
Oh,
but there you are.
Oh, okay. I'm back. I never left.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay. We had about an hour's peace with the puppy.
Yeah.
He's on his bullshit again right now. So
what is a puppy's bullshit? Like, what is that? Like, is he like
barking,
chill?
whining, biting. And his new thing, he hides under the double desk in the office, and he can't see him. It's great, but then he charges one of our crotches. He just charges, and that is what he's doing. Except he's flailing his head around like this because one of us is not at the desk. He looks like. And I bought a figure because he looks so much like this. He looks like he's a black lab, but he looks like Shin Godzilla's second film.
Oh my lord!
That's what he looks like.
That's not a compliment to your puppy.
No, he's a beautiful boy and he's very sweet. You're such a puppy.
What's his name again?
What's his what?
Name?
Arthur.
Oh, he's
Mandalay. It's
Arthur. Oh, really? That's awesome. Love the Seinfeld reference.
Totally.
And he wants attention. Maybe he should get his own camera for the podcast. Or live stream.
He will be at least tall enough to steal stuff off my desk. He comes up and he types.
Oh my god.
And I'm really glad I didn't get that. The Cintiq, it's one of the newer ones, but they decided to add some touch features. Not the same as an iPad, but it has some of those touch features.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really, if I can't rotate my canvas, I'm not really interested in that. So I didn't get it. And thank God, because he's constantly like this, and I don't know, my Spotify's really jank right now.
He's creating his own playlist.
Yes.
No, I actually had the same, because I actually replaced my Cintiq with one of the newer ones. I had like one from 2011, and I actually was debating on the same thing. And I had the portable, and I would just like curse like a storm because my hand would touch something, and if something would happen, I'd be like, for fuck's sake, the screen thing. So like when I bought it, I was like, no touch screen whatsoever, just like keyboard and buttons on the side is way perfect for me.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have those like, I got a newer-ish Cintiq, and they have that weird like controller that's magnetized.
Yeah, this thing, right?
Yeah,
I hate this thing.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And I've never used it. I have no. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's magnetized, and I'm like, well, still not gonna use it.
No, I like the old Cintiqs that had the buttons on the back, so you could easily like slide your hand behind.
You're just like touching it. Like,
yeah,
it's like an electric guitar.
It's like a little musical instrument. You're just kind of But this new thing is awful.
I'm fine with a keyboard. That'll do.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing. Keyboard and a couple of hotkeys, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then carpal tunnel. So that'll be cool.
You say you carpal tunnel?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, we got a shout out to you, Katie, from Mama Deadhead said hi.
Oh, hey.
She's been a regular here every week. God bless her soul.
I remember that name from the episode I watched with Marcus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's an odd name, and I like it.
Oh, what do we got here? Ramon's already starting to draw. Oh, I better catch up with it.
Oh my god!
I started drawing earlier, so I already have a little bit of a sketch.
See, now I'm just trying to get back in the groove.
Can't get that.
It's been a while since I draw my characters, and I need to get back in. You know, it's your style kind of evolves and changes, right? So it's almost like I need to kind of backtrack a little bit, but also enjoy.
Yeah. I'm just watching you draw
the style.
So, Katie, how's it going?
How's it go? My blank screen, how's it going? I'm just looking for my windows where I have like what I'm supposed to be drawing.
So you're actually working on a video game right now, right?
I am, and I'm doing this. This is part of that work. I like I said right before we met up live here.
Yep.
I've been working on. I have sort of two roles, and I spent 3.5 weeks doing documentation and blueprinting the art direction process, the asset process. Yeah, you're beautiful. All that kind of stuff, and testing out those pipelines. And I haven't drawn in like a month. So I was speaking with my partner at the studio today, and he was like, just draw a character and like let's dissect it, go as far as you want.
Yeah.
So this is my approach today. I have several factions and clans and roles and player characters and NPCs and all this shit that we need to start rolling out now. I've done a lot of writing in the backstory and some of the narrative design, but now I need a visual. And it's like, where do you start? Because it's a video game, so there's a lot of balance like among characters. So it's, you know, when you're designing characters for, say, comics, I enjoy like a little visual nod to each other. Like the bad guy looks kind of like the good guy, except in an opposite fashion, or like, you know, spy versus spy kind of stuff like that. But in a video game, that is just so much more layered, and then all the character design decisions have to flow from even those basic concepts. So it's like, where do you start? So that was today's inspiration meeting, and it turns out I am being told to start anywhere and go as rough or as painted as I want, and just see what we can come up with that flies for like the entire group of characters, or just flies for this one guy. We'll make him an NPC that has a backstory and a couple of quests and some interesting AI, and then the design isn't like gone to waste if he ends up with a cool backpack that no one else wears a backpack.
I guess I know in animation you design, you know, because you're designing for simpler things, because people have to redraw it constantly. Is that something that still happens in video games, or is it because it's all just like rendered and, you know, what do you call it, created or skinned onto a character? Does it really matter as much anymore? Or? Like
skinned onto the rigs and stuff.
Yeah, the skeleton.
It depends, but we are actually, I'm going to be using some 3D modeling and rigs to capture. I'm not even sure actually how many animation or how many frames we need right now, but we're working in an isometric-ish.
Oh, view. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So if you've played or seen the video game Hades, that when I was playing that, it's a top-down roguelike that actually has a really interesting approach to story progression. But the environments are very much what that studio often does. And I always look at them every time a game comes out, and I think, I know how to make those assets. And we're a small studio. This is our first endeavor. So we're not going to have like 26 people on, you know, modeling and animation and that kind of stuff. So what we're doing is we're designing as if we are 2D animated with an isometric top down.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and we had to kind of decide on that early, but I guess we can always change our mind, and we keep joking that, you know, it doesn't matter at this point. We're so early on that it doesn't really matter what we're making, like what media we're making. Are we making a movie? Are we making a series of napkins for McDonald's? Whatever it is, the decisions that we're making right now are so structural that we want that system to be able to apply without, you know, having to worry about what we're going to be doing in 6 months with our decisions.
Yeah.
So trying to follow along here. So are you in a lot of design phase still then right now? Like a ton of design coming your way?
Like at the studio there. Why have I lost my window? It is. I think I'm about to enter a stage where I am just going to be drawing, and it's going to be a really like quick and iterative stage. So I designed these systems for approaching each part of the concept design that we need.
Right.
To reference with each other. So I can't just go whole hog on one thing. I have to decide on one thing before moving on to another. And it's not what's the phrase? It's not like a very linear process, and a lot of the iteration isn't linear anyway. Right. And the goal of what we've been trying to do is just like, don't waste money, don't waste time. You know, don't overpromise on launch dates and test, figure out why this isn't working and figure out early why something's not working.
Yeah, we definitely try not to promise release dates with Warframe 2, as the community knows, we do miss. But ultimately, it's because we want the best product, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, the frustration of, we're not even in the marketing phase yet, but you're still thinking, like, what am I going to be promising these people? And I've noticed actually that there's a lot less like pre-rendered and like vertical slice promos that are going on right now, or like, teaser trailers, etc. I think that they're showing more actual gameplay because people have just shot themselves in the foot and overpromised. And I think also like my the first member of the studio, my boss, the first, and I'm the second, he's within 1 year of my age. So his kind of like approach to this isn't necessarily very, we have no stars in our eyes. We want to make something that we would enjoy playing.
Yeah, that's important.
We know what's driving us nuts. We both, we both have other careers and experiences. So this is like, honestly, this is like a dream job at this point. And as long as we can keep this going, I think it's going to be a really practical experience in video games, which, not a lot of people say.
Yeah. What was the drive then to do video games, or whatever you decided to do within? Like, why gaming?
For me, it occupies all the spaces in my brain that are thinking about design. It's often really focused on user experience and the kind of frustrations where even your mom has it. Like, they go to the ATM and they can't fucking use the ATM. Like, that kind of, like, there's this opportunity in I didn't do that correctly. There's this opportunity to make an experience that is seamless and transportative, like comics have been for me. But also, before comics, I did play video games. I played Nintendo, of course, when I was like really young. But then we moved to computer games, as we called them. So like PC. And we're playing like Myths and Dragon Quest and all that kind of stuff. And I remember our frustrations really, really well, because they were hilarious. Like, it would, a lot of bugs and crashes and things where you're like, geez Louise, can we just get past this point? But I also remember time flying and how perfectly immersive it was. It wasn't, it didn't ask me to do the same work that playing D&D did. It didn't ask me it doesn't ask you for a ton of knowledge, I think, the way comics often do. And I guess because I'm technically minded and I'm narrative and I'm visual, this is where I belong.
Yeah, right on.
Quick, Dad. We got a very personal question here.
Oh boy.
I know. Mama Deadhead's wondering what your favorite sushi is.
All right. Yes. I eat a lot of sushi, because I've loved it since my dad took me to a sushi restaurant when I was like, I don't know what it was, like 5 or 6 or something, like kindergarten.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember we sat at the counter and the chef fed me nori, because apparently I was just like insane for the nori, and I remember eating it and my mouth coming alive. But it also works with a lot of my unfortunate dietary restrictions. So on that note, my favorite sushi is probably sashimi. I love sea urchin. I love it.
Oh, really?
It's really hard to find now that everything's like takeout and just so good, but not everyone carries it. And
we're actually in the same neighborhood. Do you have a favorite sushi place in the?
Did you move? No, because I moved.
Oh, you moved. Oh, okay. So we're not in the same neighborhood anymore.
No. I liked, for quality back where you were.
Mm-hmm.
I liked sushi on Ronsi. I really liked them, and they were really nice.
Okay.
Because it was all pickup.
Okay.
It's not the most creative, but you get exactly what you think you're going to get.
Okay.
And that is imperative when you're hungry.
Yeah, not wrong.
Yeah. You want the exact flavor profile.
Yeah, and I don't want to be like, oh, I see. On Wednesdays, they're like running real high on fish. So you're going to get massive slabs of sashimi.
Wow.
And on like Monday, you're going to get screwed because the delivery is tomorrow. I just want consistency.
Did you ever go to Megumi Sushi in?
Oh yeah, we did. We tried them all up and down. Like, remember, we were like more near Dundas.
Yeah.
We're right at the top there. You know what? So I'm right downtown now. It's really weird. I have the reverse view of the place I lived at a while back for many, many years. I lived there for like 7 years or something. So now I'm looking. No.
Just wants to say hello.
Just wants to say hello, Arthur.
I'm jealous that Mama Deadhead lived in Japan.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're planning a trip there.
Oh yeah, have you been?
Yeah, my partner's been. I've not been, and then it was COVID. So
yeah, COVID kind of sucks.
COVID kind of sucks. Yeah.
I got to go in 2017 for a month, and I just adored it.
I think I remember some of those photos.
Yeah, I went for TCAF and the Tokyo Comic Con, but then I stayed for another 3.5 weeks after that, and just toured around the country, discovering places, food. Yeah, you'll love it. It's a wonderful place.
I'm super excited, and we're trying to remember that we can go for quite a while. People haven't been traveling for so long that we're gonna take advantage of that. Like, I don't want to say fuck work because I will not do that, and my brain will do that, and neither will my partners. But we're just gonna go for as long as the money lasts.
No, but you can. The thing is, like, I was staying in, so like I went there for a month. I kind of booked hotels as I went.
Yeah.
And aside from a couple I had booked ahead of time, and for the most part, like, I was staying downtown Tokyo, like in not downtown Tokyo, in the Shinjuku area.
Yep.
And for like $100 a night Canadian.
That's insane.
And it was like a nice room, simple room, probably no bigger than like 200 square feet because it's tiny.
Yeah.
But what more do you need traveling around? And then like I would stay in Osaka, I stayed in some like high end hotels, but because I was booking so tight, I was getting super deals, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
I've done that.
Yeah, and
it's good.
Yeah. Oh no, it's amazing, and such great. Yeah, I'd like to go back and explore the north, but
yeah. Oh, so actually, we've watched lots of video, lots of YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
On Japan, Tokyo, districts, and my partner's like, I was there. Oh, that store was amazing, or that store was crap, overpriced direct video games, like, markets out of control. But we stumbled on Amazon Prime. It is a show hosted by James May from Top Gear.
Oh, okay.
And he's actually really funny. And then we watched a bit of Top Gear for a sec, and we're like, yeah, they treat him like garbage. He's a nice man. But he's very funny, and he did a travel log for Prime, and it is one of the better travel logs I've ever watched. But definitely some of the more intimate, just moments and experiences that an outsider has had in Japan, because he's coming to try and understand the place instead of just tour the place, because he's toured the place already. He's been there, done that, but now let's go a bit deeper. And it's really funny, and I think there's some moments played for play for a little too many gags, but he's British, of course, so it's going to be like dry and jaggy. Not dry gags, but you know what I mean. No, it was just really, we really, really enjoyed it, and it made me appreciate not just Tokyo. Like, I would go north. I would want to see some of these less visited places.
I highly recommend it because like I spent a good 10 days in the Tokyo area, and that's not even enough time to see everything. It's such a massive city, but some of the stuff I got to see by just traveling to like Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima, just all these different places, and I went to a few of the islands too, and
that would be, it would just be. I mean, you go so far, you go all the way there. You kind of want to.
Well, that's the idea. That was my reasoning behind it. And then I just bought I bought an open rail ticket so I could just travel anywhere at a moment's notice, right? So
that's what. Oh, Arthur, baby. Okay, hold on.
Arturio.
Yeah.
He just wants some love. He just wants some love.
I think he wants to go to Japan. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
We're very sad because he's not coming to Japan.
Oh.
There, you're on. You're on. Is that what you wanted?
You wanted to be on. Oh,
what adorable.
Oh my God.
Hey, buddy.
He's so big.
He's almost 50 pounds now.
Oh my God. I think he's like bigger than you since I last time.
Oh, what adorable dog.
Look at him.
Adorable.
You're a good boy? You're good? He's not wearing any of his outfits right now.
Yes, outfits.
Thank you. He's going to be on camera. There you go. Go on. Oh my God. He does this. He's doing. He says it's so hot out.
He's got a fur coat.
Brutal.
And he's black. And I've had black labs for the last 20 years or something, and they all do the same thing. They lie in the sun, and then they heat up, and then they can barely get themselves inside. When you do that, he's biting my left hand. No shortcut keys, just straight up drawing.
He wasn't camera ready.
Yeah, well, he always is, because we do tend to brush him and rub all the crap out of his eyes all the time.
Aww.
No, what a sweetheart.
How old is he?
He's 5 months and 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
50 pounds. Yeah. And he's a lab, so they were saying, 70 pounds. He's an American lab, not a British lab or an English lab. And no, he's on his way to 90, they say now. All right.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh fun.
Oh boy. Yeah, we were like, should we get a dog we can lift? No, it'll.
You want to put a little cute, put it in the backpack or something? No, it's fine.
He has a backpack. We had to buy him a backpack so we could move.
But to put him in?
To put him in, because we were like, how are we going to move with?
He needs a duffel bag. He's like a huge body.
Oh yeah, this backpack doesn't. Ouch! Gentle. It's not going to fit him. It didn't fit him for very long, and it just made it to moving day kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now, but he's grown out of everything, and so we have this. It's COVID, so we have this big pile of. Ouch! Ooh, that hurt. Dog stuff that we can't do anything with, that he doesn't fit, and I don't really look good in. So, you're a beauty. I don't even know what he wants.
He just wants attention. He just wants love.
So if anyone has a dog that's 15 pounds or 30 pounds, I have some stuff.
Yeah, I think our dog's getting up there too.
Cool.
Your dog's also was it 13 or 9 or?
Yeah, she's old, lady. She's adorable.
She's adorable. Way more quiet.
Speaking of Japan, her name is Wasabi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
So,
yeah, she's adorable.
So what other projects you working on, Katie? You did something with Kyle recently, or still are?
We still are. We're taking that, I guess it's like after reviewing all avenues, it's best to just make sure that, we remain in control and that we don't just sell it for the sake of selling it.
Right.
No, of course.
Yeah, but it's hard. You get a little lost in the.
Well, it can be tough, right? Because
It's tough. Like you. Okay. Arthur. Come on.
He's like, I'm here, and you guys aren't paying attention to me.
He just wants to go and lie on the balcony or something. It's hard to make a thing and know that thing needs to be supported or purchased in order to be seen.
Yeah.
It's hard not to go, yeah, well, that makes it seen. Okay, let's go. It's hard to remember which, what your priorities are supposed to be.
Oh, for sure, and also having it seen makes it a little bit more viable sometimes to create. Knowing there's an audience there waiting for it, or even maybe a paycheck, or something, right? Because obviously we have lives and we have to pay for things.
we supposedly do.
Yes.
It's an interesting thing, and it reminds me of how. When you're writing a comic, or when you're laying it out, or when you're editing it, or when you're drawing it, you need to be in that zone, or you are not going to be able to make the correct decision. Yeah. So when you have this thing and you're shopping it around, you need to then be in like an agent role, or like a producer role or something. So you're not going, ooh, look at my thing. Don't you love it? Oh, you love it? I'll give it to you. 10 cents, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be like, whoa. So it's kind of fun taking on and off the hats, I guess.
Yeah.
And I know that it's really, I think it's a skill that serves me well, being multidisciplinary.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur, are you going to go and get locked in the bathroom or something?
That's a yes.
He loves the bathroom, though.
Just fill the tub up. You can take a little dunk.
I feel bad. I haven't bathed him yet. I mean, he's really clean. We half bathed him a couple times, but he's never had a full bath. And so he has no idea what to expect of that portion of the bathroom.
Did you just move to where you are now?
I think this is our 3rd month here.
Oh, okay.
Or 4th month, maybe. Yeah. It was a good move. We miss Ronci. We miss Defina Pizza. Have you ever had that?
No. Where's that?
It's up near the top. So, 2 blocks south of where Howard Park touches.
Yeah.
See? So it is. They have 2 locations. There's one on College as well, and I have yet to replicate that experience. They just won't deliver past,
really?
I don't know, Bathurst or something, and we're on Spadina. It's frustrating because it's super thin. The toppings, like their pre-made pizza or the pre-designed pizzas, are gorgeous, but I don't know. I miss it so much, and totally affordable. They also do giant lasagnas, and you can pre-order stuff, and they're real friendly. And
you're making me hungry here.
I know.
I'm sorry, I miss it. I just miss it.
We're ordering
lasagna.
We've been talking about doing a what do you call it? A Black Widow movie night this weekend at the studio. So I think we're going to be ordering Defino's Pizza now.
It's DEFINA. And you want the Ronci location, because apparently people fuck that up all the time and order from the other College location or something.
Okay.
Dude, I mean, even a plain margarita is kick-ass. So,
really?
And if you're into meats and such, they have meatballs that you can get on the side, but you can add them as a topping.
Oh, okay.
And they are boar.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're real earthy, really good.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm recommending them.
I'm adding it to the food list here.
So sad that we can't get that out here.
You just have to meet them halfway. You just have to walk out to Spadina, to Bathurst, and just choose a random corner for delivery.
Well, yeah, we were in the park a while back, and we ordered burgers and fries forever to the park. Mm-hmm. That was great. Pulls up.
What are you working on there? What's this character?
What I'm trying to do. So the most of the playable characters are part of clans, and this is an MMO, so this is the interesting challenge for me. Designing for an MMO is like everything's just fucking cool, and then it's all about mechanics and min-maxing, gaming this and gaming that, and that's not the kind of play we're into. It's an MMO because we're attracted to like a community play and the stories that start progressing out of a procedural narrative.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so here's some of the really early concept art I've done.
Oh, nice.
We decided on where and what it felt like, but we hadn't yet really explored much of the lore and the backstory. So we're thinking, okay, so we it's funny, don't look at this because it has all been not scrapped, but it's so adjusted. Nothing lost. So these are some of the environments that we were exploring. It's a game that is set in the cold and the ice and the snow is what we are really actually having prevalent. So instead of it being an ice game that's going to be really icy, it's going to have some of that signature Sawatsky psychedelic color and form. And the snow is going to be one of our characters. It's going to be shifting.
That's cool.
So designing these landscapes, and then what goes in this game are 2 factions, 4 clans per faction, and they're all based around, as I was saying at the top, these they're pagan. They're I find them animalistic, old European costuming and worship. So here we are. We're progressing. So these guys along the top left. This is where I'm kind of integrating. So we have humans, and they are becoming animals, but they still have their physical form underneath.
Yeah.
So it's a form of, I think, as we level up, you're gonna have to walk and have the kind of accoutrement that you get as you get more powerful and turn more into this intimidating animal version of your clan.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go on.
I'm working right now. I'm trying to have some dynamic poses and some really human, what am I trying to say? Some really animated poses that are definitely human. And then I'm going to be dropping animal costuming on top, not like mascots, and not like Barney the dinosaur kind of way. These are. I wonder if I can drop some reference onto my. There's a good one. Okay.
You screen share?
I'm gonna just drop it into my Photoshop file.
I noticed, in looking at some of your sketches here and stuff, for example, the stuff you're doing right now is you're starting with line, but I look at some of the other stuff where it looks like you're just playing with color shapes.
Yeah.
Which dictates? Is there anything that leans? Do you just go by feel? I want to start playing with shapes here, or?
I think when it comes to figures, I'm animating them in my brain. It's all an animation approach. So I'm working on line and weight and that kind of thing. And with some of these other, with the environmental exploration, I'm taking the chunkiest brush I can and saying if it's a chunky it is a chunky approach. That the ones that look like lava and volcanoes, those are based on the Giant's Causeway, like that kind of rock that constructs itself like crystals. And so that's like a chunky approach. So I'm like, paint the whole thing with a chunky approach, and then because when you're doing this stuff digital, you don't need to get too detailed. You can play around with,
no, for sure,
if like effects and layers, so and all those kind of filters. So you're just like, well, I got to get the basics down, and then we can take some screen grabs of all these with the sliders going everywhere.
I know in the video game industry, there's usually a lot of photo bashing and stuff. Is that something you do at all, or
oops, I think I put this in here twice. I'm not working like that right now. I'm using a lot of photo reference, and here we go. Are we frozen? There we go. So I'm using a lot of photo reference.
Oh, wicked!
Yes, it was crazy.
That looks like Chewbacca on like drugs.
This is some weird stuff, guys, and it is real.
Love it.
That's awesome.
There's another dude. Here's another dude. And there we go. So I look at all this stuff, and then I'm drawing it. I want to keep it weird and original.
Oh, wow.
That's the goal. So they're not all elongated like that, but there's a lot of them that have this elongated. Which is a challenge to make not goofy as a character.
That's true. Yeah.
But so I'm not doing the photo bashing. I've worked with people who have provided me a lot of that to work off of, and that's cool. But I don't want to. I think that we're kind of going faster than doing that kind of iteration stage or iterative stage. Looking at photos, a lot of mood boards, my favorite thing to do, which I didn't realize not everyone did, is mood boards that have this, not that. And I'm wondering, like, it's instead of just going, this is our mood board, you also do like an anti-mood board.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Like what not to do. Like
exactly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I love it. Especially when you're working with a team.
That's a great idea.
Because it's hard. You can communicate. This is how I was describing it the other day. With a mood board, you can kind of communicate this, but you can't communicate when to stop.
That makes sense.
So
the
anti-mood board kind of comes in, and then you kind of end up in the middle. Where is it? Here it is. I will also share. Okay, this is my favorite of my this, not that so far. It's a little outdated now, but
great.
Okay, so here's a this, not that. This is for the Bison clan that I'm working on.
Amazing.
So it's this, not that.
Not that.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that. That's a good approach.
It keeps you on track because,
photos can be really misinterpreted, right? Like I know when I do for our game and stuff too. Whenever we try to get reference from our art directors or creative directors, I always say less is more. Try to give us just one image if you can, because if you give us a couple of images, then I'm like, okay, well, can you circle and point out on those images what you like about them all, because they're usually quite different, or they kind of have the same feeling. So I'm like, well, can you just tell me what parts you're talking about that you want us to kind of focus on? And because again, so I like your this on that approach because, and I'm gonna steal that. Because
it's great.
I think it's a great idea because that really it sets a kind of like, what's the word? Like some limitations, like some guidelines there, and it's going to stop those kind of wild tangents where you go off to some other direction, or at least you hope it will.
Yeah. It's like a whole. I'm the kind of person that is always. There are the correct words and very succinct ways of communicating, but visually and verbally, I think I'd rather say 10 things to communicate than say one thing and have it be off. So when you're saying, trying to, whittle down these concepts and create characters, you want to use all the words you can. And I find that this if you add a not that, you're almost doubling your communication.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
That's how it feels.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
Actually, Eric. Oh, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, Eric, have you ever done something like this for your own stuff, like for Arden?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm totally gonna steal it.
I have a ton of Pinterest boards like for like all my projects that I work on that I just like throw in like this for costumes, world building, ships, weapons, whatever it might be, just to have it all in one place.
Yeah.
I'm a Pinterest junkie.
Yeah.
I am.
My wife is a huge Pinterest nerd for that, and I've slowly started to kind of get into that a bit more because it's really handy. And what's interesting is like stuff that you didn't think you were looking for pops up, and you're like, oh, that's what I'm looking for.
Well, that's the cool thing about it. Yeah.
It feels like taking a walk a bit.
Yeah. Or walking through like a museum of like, oh, that's interesting.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's what they wore back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll also take you down these like little tangents that you don't expect either. It may actually spur something different in your mind, right?
Yeah.
It's also dangerous because you can easily fall into the trap of like, wow, I'm really not that creative.
That's what happens. That's when I know it's time to stop. When I'm going, researching, reading articles, I'm just going. I'm like, well, everything's already been done and done really well. Everything. Yeah. Every single.
Why bother? Let's just go make.
Why bother? I'm just gonna have a beer and not think about it.
Exactly.
And then not do it.
It was like, oh, I'm gonna go play a game instead of like a sucker making one of these things.
What do you find the most difficult in your character designing anyway? Like you're starting to work on this more and more, and you're building a world, not just a little like a comic or something. Like the whole game is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Big deal.
My like the studio founder is really good at reining me in. I am always worried. Okay, but if I design this, how do I implement it? Mm-hmm. And that's that time where I find it hard to take that hat off because it is future me. I'm not dealing with like a theoretical, So I'm like, okay, well, if I do that, I rush through something thinking, okay, well, if I design his arms like that, they're going to always clip through and this is going to suck and it's going to drive me insane. Best to avoid that. Let's not do that. Those arms. Well, maybe when I was drawing those arms, I would have kind of moved and discovered something else about the arms. You can never kind of invalidate the process. So even though I'm a process junkie, I sometimes I have to remember to slow the heck down and just do what I'm going to do today and not worry about the deadlines and the outcomes, because I'll never design anything. I'll be going in circles.
Well, that's a danger, right? You can just get trapped in that whole little thing, and then after decades you have nothing to show, or you're just trapped in a because I know I've designed things to no end before where you revise and you do this and you're like, you know what, just do it, it's done. One of our friends has a saying. He's like, "Done is better than good." Which it's not necessarily to promote doing something bad, but it's more so just to say it'll never be perfect. No matter how hard you try, there'll always be something you want to change about it.
Yeah.
And so just realize it's good, and then get it out the door.
Is that Anthony?
Yeah, that's Anthony. Yeah.
That's a very Anthony thing to say.
And like I'm an OCD perfectionist, so it's hard for me to sometimes to actually let things go, because I'm like constantly. Even today, like I'm like showing Rob like 3 or 4 different iterations of like a printed page because I'm like worried about color. values for a book I'm putting together, right? So I'm like,
would it be Mr. Monster on screen?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So I'm working with whatever existing material that's been given to me, but I'm like, how can I make this better? Because I want the reader's experience to be the best experience. You know what I mean? But I also know I didn't take the photos of the content. I didn't scan it. I'm working with what was given to me, and I can only push that threshold so much before I start fucking up with the art, and then you just go down a rabbit hole. I remember years ago I did a graphic novel for a gaming company called Palladium Books, and the owner was awesome. He gave me the opportunity to do my own graphic novel, and it was in a quarterly magazine, and it was the early part of my career, maybe the first 5 years of my career. And then years later, he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, we want to collect it into one issue, one volume. What do you say?" And I'm like, "That'd be great. I could do some, corrections, fix the typography because I hand lettered it and it was hideous." So I started going through every page and rescanning everything high def. And then I made the mistake of just going in and start tweaking some line work.
Oh no!
Yeah, because I was looking at stuff, going, "Oh, you know what? I was overworking it. I should just remove some lines." And the next thing you know, I'm spending 4 hours on one panel for a reprint edition, right? And I'm like, "Fuck, what am I doing?" And eventually, I was just leave it as is. It was. I was like, "Stop, George Lucasing it or whatever it is." And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was hard though, because you get sucked in. You're like, I want to make this better.
It's that where do you stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Not just stop with your efforts, but stop thinking about it.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, you almost need a timer to go off. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, we can't. No, this is over.
You spent 20 minutes on this already. 20 minutes too much.
Yeah.
Move on. Let's just, Yeah. But yeah.
It's like your morning routine when you've slept in. You're like, okay, something's got to give here.
I'm not getting up the coffee, so.
Yeah.
Sunscreen and go.
So what got you into art anyway? Back in the day, why art for you?
Well, that's a deep question there.
That's a hard one because I loved poring over all of the D&D books and the illustrations therein. I loved fantasy book covers. I loved all of that very, very much. And one of my best friends growing up and his older sister were into art. And here's some of these mutated characters.
Oh, cool.
In game, they sort of think there's nothing wrong.
What's wrong? I have 20 eyes. What's wrong?
What's wrong?
I'm watching you.
She's got an eye on her neck somewhere too. I just didn't make it into that shot. So I love that. I would watch them draw. I would watch them. One of them was much older, and she would babysit us, and I'd watch her do her homework for George Brown Design.
Oh, okay.
Do it with a computer. So I'd watch her doing her marker work and just think wow, this is methodical and cool. And there's something that really appeals to me about all of this. I was the kind of kid that liked to sit and count and roll change. So there's process stuff that really appealed.
Yeah.
And then I was not encouraged to draw very much. No one discouraged me, but I wasn't really drawing. I was doing sports and writing and math and science and all that stuff. And then I don't know what the hell happened, but at some point in my last year of high school, I just decided I was going to apply. Oh, I know what happened. I had an extra slot on my application for post-secondary stuff. You could apply to this many for free, right? So you could apply to colleges separate from universities. So I'd already filled my university slots. I was like, I wonder what kind of colleges are out there. Why the fuck not? And I thought, there's this thing called an art college. Interesting. I guess I kind of like art. Maybe I'm taking art next semester. I guess I'll learn something in grade my last year of high school. And I applied. I got in. I got a small scholarship, and I thought, well,
wow.
that must be the place to go for me because I excelled at that. So I did it.
Nice.
I thought for the longest time it was the dumbest choice, and you get a lot of. I think at art college you get a lot of people that think it's a breeze.
Oh no!
They think they're there for
easy
painting
credit.
their feelings. Yeah, easy credit, painting their feelings, and I couldn't suffer that anymore. But I stuck with it, and I've taken lots of breaks from drawing, but this is like I am back. I have found my niche here. I'm incredibly happy. It suits my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I found ways in which this can be, very mentally stimulating. Lots to talk about all the time.
Also, think it's like mentally healing. It's a lot about there's obviously the depression you put yourself in because you're an artist and a creative and you can't get away from that. But there's also an incredible amount of stress relief and just to get back to that childlike sense of wonder when you're working on artwork, and that I find that so refreshing and healthy for the adult brain. Mm-hmm. You get so busy with other nonsense that it's oh wait, I'll just go draw and I can go lose myself in the world.
Yeah.
It helps you get out of your. It jogs you out of whatever thought patterns you were having before because this is a different. Yeah. This is a different color and pattern altogether inside my head.
And it's one of those things that you'll never be good enough. So it's there's this constant reminder that wow, I still suck. I got to keep going. So but it's good because you can be left alone. You can just work away in your own little world, and I'm happy. It's like you said, you return to a childhood kind of way of viewing the world, and it's fun world building and creating characters and stuff and stories. So.
I think it just takes you out of your body. I remember I was having some health issues many years ago now, thank God. But they sent me to a relaxation therapy course, and they ask you the first day what do you hope to get out of this? And I'm like, oh, my fucking internal medicine team sent me here. I don't know what I'm supposed to. I don't hope to get anything out of this, but I'm here and I'm going to do this. And the side effect of that was that I started drawing again.
Oh, interesting.
I hadn't drawn in years at that point. And all of a sudden I was able to, it wasn't like it improved my drawing. It just allowed me to sit down and do the thing. And then doing the thing transported me right out of my body, just like the mindfulness therapy transported me out. So it was it is very zen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it totally is.
Yeah. No.
And I guess that's why I was petitioning at work today. Okay, I got to stop. I can't do any more documentation.
Yeah. I also find the longer you step away, I don't know, this is for me a little bit, but the longer you step away, it's harder to get into that groove again. But when you're doing it every day, even if it's a little sketch or something in your sketchbook or somewhere, just to keep those skills kind of in second gear, right? So when you come back to that table on Monday, they're still active, they're still going. Kind of scenario.
Steph has an interesting comment here in chat.
I didn't see this.
Rob wants to. Oh, there it is. Nerd fact. Are you saying we're nerds? Yeah, there you go.
No, he did, yeah. Yeah, because you're just, you in your mind, you're just not, you get all the time. You're just get in your head, think, and paint. It'd be interesting how deep you could go unfettered, undisturbed by the day-to-day grind.
Well, yeah, if you stopped being an adult, if you kept being a kid, basically, what I mean.
Yeah.
This is
Alexa, stop.
Turn on the dishwasher.
Ooh, dishwasher.
It's 9 p.m. Do your dog do your laundry.
I love it. You have a smart home.
No, it's not. It's fucking stupid. This thing is insane. She won't shut up. I can't control the volume at which she speaks anymore. I can control the volume it plays everything at, but not how she speaks. And she has occasionally been playing, I don't know what, but I was describing it today as like if you filled a football stadium with, like a soccer stadium with like 500,000 people and told them to do the chanting from Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay.
That's what she's been playing.
That's weird.
Out of nowhere. I don't know.
Love it. Love it.
It's not smart, but turn on dishwasher.
You should train the dog. Arthur should learn how to do this already. Come on, Arthur.
Was that set up in your house or?
No, it's a. We hate it so much we brought it with us from the old house.
Let's take it with us.
It's like, honey, I love this.
We dropped it and I thought it was dead, and we both looked at each other like, but it wasn't, and so we can't get. It's sometimes very helpful. We do the old trick of like asking it questions that it should be able to answer. It once told us. We asked it what propaganda was, and it was like, propaganda ended in 1981. It must be a band.
We got Dax screaming fire in chat.
He's loving the new shapes that Katie's creating here. It's cool that you went from a skinny, weird, gangly person to now like a very chunky, ape-like character.
Yeah, he's... I think that was gone right to ape, and we're gonna pull it back. With
Make
maybe
it Monday, baby. Maybe Dax had a few drinks and stuff. Everything's in cap letters, so it must be serious. I'm gonna start another drink here on hour 2.
Yeah.
What were you drinking again?
I had it's right here, a Bareface rye whiskey. It's one of my favorite whiskeys.
Okay.
So it's good price and it's Canadian, delish.
I love rye. I really like rye.
I just like drinking. Working on it.
Yes. Well,
So in one of in the email thing we had, you said something about trying to stay fresh.
oh yeah. I mean, the constant struggle, right? But I guess some of that. Sometimes you're not supposed to be fresh. You're supposed to be taking someone else's earlier work and taking it to the next stage, right? Professionally, when you're working like in visual development or whatever. But what like the stage I'm at right now, and when I do develop that stuff, it'll be my own fault because it'll be my own designs. We're trying to make sure we remember what it is that made you have that idea in the first place. And that's what I mean about staying fresh. Like you want to look at things to figure out how they work or how they would move or what's out there that you don't want to be duplicating too much, but you don't want to kind of box yourself in going, well, like with that, one of those first weapons that flashed up from one of our early concept design medleys. It was like, okay, so they're weapons and they're ice. Cool, seen it. And we're not trying to fit into that genre, so we need to avoid the markings of that genre.
Right.
Yeah, and so staying fresh, I keep little notes, little sticky notes on the wall that have hilarious phrases or sparking phrases so that I don't forget what was actually going on in the first place.
Right. Yeah, I tend to kind of write little notes to myself too. Like you get trapped in your own like typical style, typical line work, and you go down. Yeah. I'm always trying to change like how I would draw an arm or a hand or something.
Yeah.
Oh, you got these go-to faces, and I'm like, and it's just you frustrate yourself because like I'm not even excited drawing this right now. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What am I doing? You know, and it's like it's crazy.
I think it is part of boredom because once I used to have this problem because I was only doing art on the side at this point, and so it'd take a lot of follow, and I wasn't publishing anything. It was all for myself. It was all to see where my skills were at, and I had such a hard time finishing anything because I could see it done in my brain. Mm-hmm. I know how I'm going to draw this, and then it would be like, what's the fucking point?
It's like, this is done already in my head.
This is done already, and then I realized I'm not. So, it stays fresh if you just, keep at it and try to forget how you draw, because I used to see this in physical media painters that used to do fantasy work, that like the first fucking 15 years of their career, I don't know if they're 20 or 40 at that point, doesn't matter, but they kill it, and then something happens and every person they paint starts to look like cross-eyed or something, and you're like, oh, I get it. You're painting as if you're painting as you. Like you're not fresh anymore. You're not thinking.
Yeah. You're not automatic, basically.
You're not automatic, and things deteriorate and they get boring. So you're bored because you already know how it turns out, because you can see it in your mind.
Yeah.
And you're bored because you do the same thing over and over. And I don't want. That's the kiss of death for me.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Well, we got Bowmanitis here. Whiskey Mondays. You're right, buddy. Cheers.
Bowmanitis. I always thought it was Bowmantis.
Bowmantis. Why would you wish that?
He's like a mantis man,
Bowmantis. Oh, there's Dax again. Trevor and Dax are.
It's like a little clubhouse party.
Yeah, I went to Sheridan with these two clowns for animation.
Which explains so much.
98 to 2000 or so.
Somebody shared. And Katie, you went to OCAD?
I did, yeah. I wanted to go to Sheridan, but I didn't have any. I had no training to do the formal portfolio entry. I could have done it, but I didn't I didn't have the terminology or anything. I studied music, and
oh, cool.
I knew all of that stuff. But,
you still do any music?
Not for a long time, but we're kind of like talking about music and sound design for the
band back together
game.
Yeah.
I don't know, the guy that started the studio, he has a music production background, and he's played in bands and shit, so this has been a fun discussion. But what was the original question?
Oh, Ramon loves to give answers, and I like to ramble on at length. Yeah, that's all right, Rob.
Yeah, because I'm always right. Don't people know that?
No. Bowmantis is always right. Original question was, no, I forgot it.
No, yeah, I asked if you went to OCAD or.
Oh, right.
School. Yeah. So, Sheridan at that time didn't have a what do you call them? Dorms or whatever, residence.
Oh, they had one in Mississauga, but yeah, it was farther out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't go because I could commute from my parents' house for the first year to OCAD.
Yeah.
Sort out. And OCAD had no residences either, so it was like get an apartment with random people. And I thought, I really dislike people, especially
artists.
No, I was gonna say most of the girls I thought were out there at the university level, so I did not like that option. So I chose OCAD, but they didn't have an animation program or any of that. So I went. I finished, but I finished half a year behind because I dropped a half credit.
How could you?
It was a really weird. The whole thing was just a weird experience. I'm in touch with, I think, 3 people that I went to school with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're great, but that's it. I don't have any of this like camaraderie or
Well, yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of my classmates, we stayed in contact quite close for several years, and then as people move to different cities, they drift apart. Like most of my friends, like Eric or Rob, or these are people I've just met in the past probably decade or 15 years after.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Through some connection through life or whatever it might be.
Yeah, it's
Can't get rid of me either.
Can't. I tried.
Let's do a show together. You're like, okay.
it's kind of funny who keeps in touch and who doesn't. And then I find like I make friends easily, I guess, but especially in a freelance industry or in like this kind of like comics industry is really, there's a lot of like community there.
Yeah.
But
true.
You talk to other people that are over the age of 26 and they're like, I don't know how to make friends.
Yeah, no, it's true.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the project you were working on with Kyle? We didn't say it in.
Oh yeah, sorry. It was called Blackmouth.
And that's the one where you did those wild backgrounds for, right?
Yeah, it's the one in the main image we used at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that's it. That's from that. That's our main environmental collab. I think it's a really cool project, and I think one of the things that's successful about it, or why I could see it, going
actually
working, is that when Kyle approached me, he had the whole thing fleshed out. Not the whole, he hadn't written scripts and stuff, but he knew, and he had the concepts of the story that helped push through the plot points, that helped push through us discussing the characters and the character designs, and some of them like inventing a few of the more intricate relationships and moments in that sample script. I think it's because he had a solid understanding of what he wanted to do.
Yeah. And
then also, I guess, my role too, because he, I think some of the first words out of his mouth were like Bloodborne. And I thought, that's cool, but I find it a little overly wrought. And it's fun to see it as a game, but I worry that would be too stiff and muddy. For the page. So I put a lot more color into it. I worked a lot with just like a harmonious triad of colors on the page, and just thought like, pop it like this, let's pop it like that, let's do a color story, let's see what we can do with the pages. And I think that would really work for the whole story, because he's got it mapped out. I don't know what's going to go on in a year or so. We know where this is going.
Right.
And it's easier to write.
Eric could take some pointers here.
What's that?
I was going to say Eric could take some pointers here.
I have a writer, Sheldon Carter. He should be taking notes.
I see.
I've delegated that duty to someone else, so I can spend more time on drawing and not getting it finished. Better watch it, Ramón. Okay.
I try to get rid of you, but
keeps coming back. Yeah. What do you see? Where do you see this all going? Like, where do you want to be in, like, I asked this Carl too, like 5-10 years? What's the end goal here for you?
Oh no! Now I've recently talked about this in therapy.
Oh.
I've never had goals. That's one of the reasons. Like, I love getting up and having coffee, but it's also probably one of the reasons I haven't like ambitiously pushed through anywhere at any point in time. I don't know. I really like games, and the more technical I get with the game design and the integration of procedural narrative and exploring AI and that kind of like emergent storytelling, I'm like, oh yeah, all these new synapses are firing off in my brain. So I'd like to stay doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'd love to still be the kind of person that in 10 years draws every now and then, but I hope that whatever we're doing with this company, I'd love to stay there in this role. So, lead concept artist, and at this point, lead narrative designer, et cetera, I'd love it if I can, do these roles and start bringing in people here and move this company up as a team. I think we've got a really cool collaborative approach. One of the goals of the company is to never have more than so-and-so number of employees, and that is barely double digits. Okay. So we're not trying to make $1 zillion. We are trying to make a decent living, of course, but make something that's engaging and really fucking fun to do, because both of us have had, we've had corporate jobs that pay really well. We've had satisfying jobs that pay nothing. And there is a happy medium, and we are old enough now to, I think, make this happen. Yeah. And we don't have our head in the clouds. We're not, I think we've been very practical about this whole thing. And I'd like to stay on doing this job for a long, long time, but having creative control and narrative control is really fun. Yeah. Really fun.
Yeah, I think the key word is control. I think a lot of people like that. I know myself. It's like you work for other companies, and I'm very blessed. I love working on digital streams and Warframe. It's fantastic, and I do have a fair amount of my own artistic control, if you will. But I like, the dream is to make my own worlds and games and toy lines and animes and movies and all that stuff, and that's kind of always been there, and I hope to see that through with Sheldon and the Raid Studios. So I'm excited. But yeah, it's not like that. Like, you kind of dream about those things, and then you get into the business of doing it, and you're like, shit, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of work. And it's luck, and it's timing, and it's like, and you got to have. And I think the biggest thing is healthy collaborators, because you can't do it all on your own. That's another thing. Obviously there's the cases out there that where it is the case. People have done it on themselves, but having a team or even just one other person is just so critical for success. I think an example is just even the recent Force vote with Dax and all that, like just how the team rallied to get that out the door, and Dax, it's just pretty cool. It's inspiring. Name dropping, boom, Force vote. But there you go. Yeah, little image. But
that's done impressively. It's good, but you never know what people are going to do on the day of a Kickstarter launch. And
oh god,
some poor guy. I think it was. Oh my god! This is a huge tangent. David Hasselhoff, I think, going to be playing.
You have my attention.
Yes, I believe it was him. He was going to be playing his debut sold-out concert, and it was going to be broadcast as well. He was playing in Asia somewhere on 9/11, and that 9/11, I believe, tanked David Hasselhoff because he had this burgeoning singing career, and it went nowhere because of 9/11. Now, that's a horrible tragedy, and I don't wish that to ever interfere with anything, but you don't know what people are going to do.
Well, look at what probably COVID did for so many people, starting not only in creative, just even a business, or even just like they had school plans, travel plans. They had life-altering, positive, moving plans, and COVID comes in, and you got to stay home. It's like, no, I'm trying to get away from myself a little bit. I need new experiences. I need to get out and meet new people. No, you can't. So
no, sorry.
My friend Ryan said it right. That's right. Right people make it or break it. We got a few people joining in here on the chat here. What do we got here? Katie, sweet shirt, Ricky Lima.
Hey, thanks. It's a men's. This is a men's shirt. A fluorescent pink mesh Fila mock neck is from the men's section.
Mock neck. I'll stick with t-shirts and shorts. I don't know anything.
It looks refreshing.
Oh yeah, and apparently he played on the same day as the OJ car chase as well. So
okay. So that's probably what it was. But that's what tanked him.
Yeah.
maybe it's a gift to everybody that that didn't happen. I mean, I'm a big Hasselhoff fan.
Yeah, we love the Hulk here.
I actually have his first 2 albums, but they're more out of jest or silly joy. But
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like he probably had his time. He had the Knight Rider. He had the Baywatch. He had it all. Like, you know, go chill out.
Give us a break.
Give us a break, David. Give us a break.
Well, he also had Baywatch Nights.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Was that with Monsters or some weird? Yeah, I was like.
I think the first season they didn't play it for Monsters, and then they played it for Monsters, and the X-Files was on, and they were like, "Let's go Monsters."
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Pick a genre.
Pick a genre.
Speaking of TV shows, what are you watching these days, Katie?
Oh my God, we are. What are we watching?
It was Nick Fury.
We watched some Irish true crime.
Ooh, love those.
It was nice and cold.
I like dramas. Documentaries.
I love a good doc, but I watch garbage most of the time because I'm only half there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like listening to Hell's Kitchen. I'm not watching that, but I'm listening to it, and I'm on like season 8 now. But what's the good stuff we've been watching? What's the good stuff?
I'm yearning. I haven't found anything that has grabbed me. Like the last thing that I really got into was The Expanse.
Oh yeah.
That.
And I'm enjoying all the Marvel stuff coming out right now. But
we're enjoying Loki. It is. I haven't watched most of the shows. My partner has, so I catch it all. But I thought that the just the art direction and the set design approach for Loki, I really liked it. It was something. Finally something fresh.
Yeah.
You know, we started watching Underground Railroad. Is that it?
Oh yeah, yep. I know that. I haven't watched that yet. It's on the list.
So interesting and so well done. I'm quite fascinated by it. Annette and I are watching that, and the music, the quality of the acting, the characters. I'm blown away by it. Each episode is. I highly recommend it because I had no idea what I was walking into it, what to expect. And, you know, and I think it's from a book that was written. But it's just, I'm still I think about it quite often because it's such a unique take on it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but wow, I highly recommend it.
Oh,
I think you never know what the level of quality is going to be. So
definitely Prime. So.
Prime. Okay.
And then a guilty pleasure we got into was Yellowstone.
I heard that's actually quite good though.
It's very good. It's like mobsters, mob life on the range.
Interesting. Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, Kevin Costner kills it too. Like and the characters and some of the stories, you're like, this is fucked, but it's also super entertaining and man, it's out there. It's pretty cool.
Anything that's described as out there and pretty cool, I will give that a whirl.
Well, check out the Underground Railroad. I'm so excited to see every episode. We're still we probably still got about 3 or 4, but it's definitely different. It's pretty cool.
Cool. And I need something a little different.
Yeah.
Well, I think that one I would give that a whirl immediately.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out because I find I'll tune stuff in and I'll be like, meh. Nothing is doing nothing for me.
Yeah, there's some. It's slower and it's a slow build. Some of it, but some of it's very in your face and jarring. And holy shit! And it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And, very 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 taken by it.
Okay.
I haven't seen any movies at the theater.
I watched the New Mutants movie last night. That was it was okay. It's kind of the Fox post X-Men Marvel movie that got shelved when Disney took over.
Oh yeah.
But it was actually a lot of fun. The girl from what's the chess movie?
Oh yeah, what is her name?
Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, Queen's Gambit. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Actually, that's probably the last show I got into where I couldn't stop watching. Actually.
That was a great show,
yeah,
man.
That was a great one. I agree with that.
Fantastic. I like how weird she is and how well she played, and just I love chess myself, so that was pretty cool that they did this interesting spin on it. Wild stuff. So another good one to watch, Katie.
Yeah, that one was like I had a hard time, stepping away and going to bed, for example.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was intense like that. I haven't.
The characters grab you. I find a lot of the stuff lately, like I try to watch it, but none of the characters grab me. Like I tried to watch Snowpiercer, and I'm like started watching, and I'm like, kind of lame, kind of tropey. I mean, sometimes you get past it. Like with like The Expanse, I actually had a hard time. When I actually watched that one, I tried to watch it twice. The first time I couldn't get into it because I didn't like many of the characters, but then I kept hearing how it was like amazing.
And, I've heard that. I keep hearing, and I have a couple of friends that work on it. And
Same. They have
not told me it's amazing. It's actual other people.
Yeah, and then basically once I actually got over that initial hump of the first 5 or 6 episodes, then I couldn't stop. Like it was like I want more. Give me more now. Like why isn't there more? It's like, so it could be just like maybe just not the right thing. I'm not giving it any chances.
Well, it's like when was the last time I felt like that? I don't know, and that's kind of sad. But
well, that's the last one that did it for me.
Yeah, the Expanse took me a while too. I watched that once and I was like, nope, hard pass. And then I gave it a chance again. And I was like, you know what? It builds. And I'm like, what I really liked about that show is it's like they kind of told one story per season, and they focused. Like they had a lot of things going on, but they kind of had one story going. Wayne on Prime is amazing. Oh, Wayne.
What is
Wayne?
I don't know. I'm gonna check that out.
Okay.
And really like Yellowstone. Yeah, it's addictive. It's such a guilty pleasure, that Yellowstone.
All right.
Yeah, give that a watch. And Kevin Costner, he's awesome, man.
No, he is. We recently rewatched at the Raid Retreat. We watched Waterworld again.
Yeah.
It was like
I've never seen that actually.
It's one of Shane's favorite movies, and it's kind of but you know what? It's entertaining. Like it's in the downturn of his career when he was just given too much freedom, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's entertaining. It's like Mad Max on water, basically.
I just watched. I put myself through watching Con Air on AMC, so they block out all the swearing just to make it even more boring.
We paid to rent that.
Oh man!
Yes, because Richard had never seen it, so you need to see Face Off and Con Air, and then
Face Off. Face Off.
Yeah, so we watched Face Off too.
Some of those movies, I don't know if they really survive very well.
Yeah. They don't, but they're still like entertaining.
There's something about it, right? Like I was watching it, and that's like, what are you watching? I'm like, Con Air, almost in person. And then she's like, and I'm like, what do you want to watch? She's like, well, I kind of invested in Con Air now. I'm like, all right.
Awesome.
But, oh man, we watch a ton of those, like Love It or List It, Vancouver, or those home shows, and because like we have our own home, and I like doing renos, and it's like, well, that's a good idea, you know? That's, Oh, The Rock. Oh, yeah, that's what that was.
The Rock.
Oh, The Rock is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just
on the Con Air was The Rock, but I realized quickly it was not.
No.
But man, Nicolas Cage was jacked in that film, man, Con Air.
Oh, yeah. I always remember that scene where he walks off the plane and his hair is just kind of billowing off to one side, and you're like, what is going on here?
Sam makes a good point. Ted Lasso is supposed to be amazing. And I've seen a couple episodes, and I was hooked. I just don't have that subscription to watch it. So
yeah, I've heard that. I've heard good things about that one, too.
I like that actor a lot. He's awesome.
I have so many things, saved in the queue.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm one of these people that says in my head, no, it's not the right time to watch that.
Not yet.
Yeah, there's a little not yet. There's a little, you're going to fall asleep soon.
Yeah.
There's some of my brain's just full, and there's some of this is going to stimulate me and I'm never going to fall asleep. And it all has to come together just right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen. So Hell's Kitchen goes on, And then Richard comes over and he's like, yeah, I was thinking of like maybe playing something, like playing a game or something. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I'm just, whatever. This is just on. And then he'll futz about getting a drink. And then he comes back and I'm like, yeah, no, I think I'm actually invested in Hell's Kitchen now. This is my speed. This is it. Yeah. I once watched all episodes of Bones.
Yeah, I watched a ton of that. I got caught up in the love story.
you get caught up, and then that's what you're watching. So I did that with Poirot.
Poirot's
the old,
fun.
The old Masterpiece Theater ones, and Midsummer Murders. I've done that where like the whole whatever computer if it's the iPad or my laptop or whatever's hanging out like on the couch or in the bedroom, it becomes like the Poirot machine. It's not a laptop. It's the Poirot machine. And can someone please get that for me right now?
Did you watch the new Kenneth Branagh take on the
train?
Yeah, the train. What's the full
We haven't. Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, and they have a new one coming out, which actually might be out now that I think of it.
Another one.
A sequel that just was supposed to have come out. I love the original is the best, but the remake actually is pretty decent.
I like Kenneth Branagh. I fell in love with his Hamlet. I love that.
Oh yeah,
that was a sick movie. And
I think that's the only movie I've ever seen in the theater that had it. Was it Hamlet that had an intermission?
Oh yeah, it does have that intermission. That's right.
One of my favorite Shakespeare update movies is Romeo and Juliet, Leonardo DiCaprio. Claire Danes. That's some good.
The Baz Luhrmann. It's great.
Fantastic.
Oh, I couldn't stand that when it came out.
Really?
I wanted to love it. Like I wanted to, but I don't know why. I just did not land right with me. I don't know why.
I have
love it.
What am I?
My partner Steph, who was on earlier with the Picasso comment, says my favorite thing. She's like, "Oh, you're doing your favorite thing," which is just basically I go and watch trailers constantly for things, just because I'm like cataloging or assessing for future watches, and then I'll like put them in the queue, and some will never be watched. But
I was writing down a list of movies I wanted to see after watching them on watching trailers on like firstshowing.com or whatever.
Yeah, I do that. I have a list on my phone.
And that list grew so big, there's no way I'm ever going to see them all. And now I started another list on my iPhone on my notes. And
shorter list.
No, it keeps going.
I saw a trailer for a movie with Hugh Jackman coming out called Reminiscence, which looks interesting, about people who basically in the future, because the world sucks so much, basically hook themselves up to machines to just relive memory, like live back in your happier days.
That's cool. Is it based on anything, or is it just like...
I don't know. I'm going to guess a book, maybe, but...
A book?
I don't know.
Based on a sandwich, bye. Because it sounds like one of those... If it is based on something, I would hope it would be one of those original, like, Philip K. Dick or Asimov or something.
I've actually wanted to watch... Speaking of Philip K. Dick, I wanted to watch The Man in the High Tower. On Prime, and I haven't actually given that a chance yet.
There's so many things, right? That's a commitment. That's a real commitment.
You know, I'm also looking forward to the Foundation series. From,
man, I love that.
Oh God,
it's one of my favorite books ever.
Oh, I've never read it.
The series, I've read them. I think we talked about this last time. I fucking love the Foundation series.
Yeah.
The Mule, what a great character.
What was it about it that grabbed you so much?
I just like the idea of psychohistory. I thought that was so cool. And aside from like it being a great writer, I was just like, it clicked with me, all of it.
I've never actually read any Asimov, so I'm curious.
I haven't read any in a long, long time. And there's so much. There's just so much. I can't remember what I've read, and it didn't really strike me at the time. And I think I just didn't have the context for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I get it now. I think I was trying to read it when I was like 12 but it's like this isn't going to make, you're not going to have the social awareness.
Yeah.
Especially with a probably story that was already, like 20 years old or something, where that's a lifetime if we're talking about like zeitgeist for a 12-year-old.
She's like,
I like Kalman's suggestion that they should remake the Rock starring the Rock. That's a great idea.
Not impossible.
What else we got in here?
Actually, I actually love one of his earlier movies. I don't know if you've ever seen The Rundown.
Is that? I know it.
Christopher Walken's in it, and the guy who played Stifler in American Pie. I can't remember the actor's name.
Yeah.
And there's actually this cool nod-off scene where he's walking out of a bar, or walking in as Arnold is walking out, and Arnold just kind of winks at him like he's handing off the tough guy role.
Yeah.
To him, which I thought was kind of cute.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah. What other Arnold?
I don't know. Tom Arnold?
Tom Arnold. Exactly. Handing it off to the Rock.
That guy. That tough guy. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Tom Arnold.
Where are you at on that current drawing? What, you got more of a story for it now?
So there's a phenomenon that seems to it's hard to do research on this pagan European stuff because it's pretty like one note, and I think that a lot of it might cross over with Christianity and Orthodox Catholic stuff, so they're hesitant to talk about the crossovers. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the manifestations of these, I don't know, are they deities? Are they like embodiments of actual animals that just don't look quite right? They have there's a lot of multiples that go on, and so I'm trying to work that into the character design, but almost like as you level up, now you've got a second head. So instead of this being horrific, this is part of your totem. This is part of
that's interesting. It's like a reward.
As a reward. I think that's why we're having a lot of fun with this, because we're trying to keep it fun instead of making it World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
No offense to World of Warcraft players, but it's like that's a game where you need to know what you're doing and get your ass kicked, and that's not the game we're trying to.
Yeah, and that already exists, so why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, we don't need to make that again.
Yeah.
So we're trying to turn things on their head and have some interesting, even with mechanics. I've been brainstorming some stuff, and one is there's a certain clan that utilizes fire, mm-hmm. and you can get lit on fire, which is always fun because we'll have to design a scream or something. But we don't have a lot of menus or UIs in stone yet, but we've got kind of like some, combat paths and stuff. But there'll be a choice that you can make with the fire to actually take it as a rage buff for your entire clan for 10 seconds, while still, 10 seconds supposedly at this point, while still taking the damage. So you can take a giant chunk of damage off your character, but your clan is going to get a rage buff because you are burning to death.
Oh, crazy.
Okay.
Turning things on their head like that. It reminds me of playing, I think it's Hearts, where you're trying not to get the hearts, but if you get stuck with a lot of hearts, you can just go for the hearts, and it's lots of risk, lots of reward. So those are the kind of mechanics we're trying to bring in.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we do. I don't really want people to come in here and play this game and be concerned with the minutia.
Yeah.
Which is really how MMOs have been designed for a long, long time. Like, they used to be more creative, and then for better or for worse, World of Warcraft came around, and it really eliminated a lot of exciting mechanics that other MMOs were using. And just because World of Warcraft didn't use it, so like we were talking about, why do that again? Well, everyone wanted to do it again because they thought they'd get rich because they're silly. Mm-hmm. And so they're aping that. So a lot of stuff it kind of bottlenecked into, well, this is what an MMO is. And so we're trying to kind of go back out without thinking we're all that clever. We're just trying to make the game that, we would want to play.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's how you have to start anything.
Yeah. Whether it's a book you want to read or a game you want to play, exactly.
Yeah. I see you doing a lot of characters. Any more environment work? Because that stuff you did that I saw was really cool, and it was very high level concepty. But then I saw like those really detailed works for the comic for Kyle. Like, are you doing any more? What else are you doing for environment work?
Right now,
that's cool.
Yeah, these are fun. So a lot of the stuff that's on the right-hand side, that's all extrapolated and then invented off some old brutalist Soviet architecture that I've had on my Pinterest board forever. The one in the middle on the bottom, I think that's just like straight out of my head, though. I start sketching, I get the feel for the forms. Some of these others are based on very modern architecture. I put the environmental.
Yeah, I love myself. I'm a huge line art guy, so I love seeing stuff like this, like the line studies.
I love a clean line.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've put a lot of the environmental stuff on hold because I'm actually working on overworld design in terms of backstory and narrative and all that. So we're like, okay, let's freeze this down. We're going back this way with the clans. We're going back this way with the environment. We're trying not to do too much extra work. We're trying to keep this a lean process. Mm-hmm. And so there's no like bloat. And also so that we don't touch with what the hell we're doing. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I'm just putting something on hold. I'm like, okay, cool. We've got it to this point. We can talk about it at this level. Now let's move on to, like the level editor views. That's what I was discussing today. So it's interesting to have to like, okay, shut up about that. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about, what kind of layers are in the level editor and what layers do we need to be live? What layers are established? It's just, so I haven't done any environmental design work.
All in due time.
All in due time.
Has there been any 3D work that you have done or anything available?
No, I haven't jumped in yet.
Sounds like Eric's headhunting.
Curious. Because I think you said 2D. You're going to do a lot of 2D on an isometric.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm going to be some of the more organic forms. I am definitely going to be building in 3D. I'm sorry to disappoint like hardcore guys out there, but I'm probably just going to be using Blender for the first bit. I don't have time to learn like Unreal or I don't have time to learn
ZBrush.
Yeah, ZBrush not at the moment.
ZBrush is a nightmare of a UI situation.
I've seen it.
I've gone into it a little bit and I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but like holy shit, they got to spend some time on that interface. Holy shit.
Interface drives me nuts.
I'd actually like to explore Blender a bit. I downloaded it like a year ago.
Too, right? So,
yeah. And by the way, there's an update. A year ago.
Yeah. I think that's when I downloaded it. I think I remember that actually. I downloaded it around that time. And I was like, I don't got time to learn this. What am I doing?
What am I doing? I find that what I find is a lot of these things, it's really cool to do like a tutorial where you follow along.
Yeah.
Because, and you're not trying to do it, you just follow along.
Yeah.
And I have to learn UI through repetition a lot of the time because
That makes sense. Yeah.
I just don't agree with the thinking a lot of the time. But so I'm planning on digging back into Blender, and so I'm going to do this is the plan so far. It could change. I'm going to do 3D modeling on some of the more organic structures. I may end up doing all of the structures in there, just build them with blocks and then chisel a bit out. And it's pretty easy doing this kind of brutalist sculptural stuff. And I think it's going to be really interesting to be able to get a nice scale of it as well. And then I'm going to also do some really, really low poly 3D modeling of the characters to get the different animations from to run the sprites around, because we're doing like it's sprite work. And then I think that we don't even have a level editor built. We're not working in an engine just yet, so like we don't even have the level editor built where I can F around with the terrain or the our solids and what we're calling our entities. So I think jumping into Blender is going to give me my first real feel. Just something about you got the one thing, and then like all of a sudden you're changing the lighting, or you're adding just like a basic, I don't know, like particle effect. And you're like, okay, now it's breathing. I get this. It's motivating.
Yeah, 3D is cool. I definitely dabbled in like trying to learn ZBrush, as I said, because there's a part of me, like I do a lot of, not a lot, but I've done a bunch of character designs at work, and I'm like, you really take it to that next level and see it in 3D. And also just to, as you're designing it and playing around with it, it's like, I love line art. I love drawing things just with strong line, and that's cool and all, but when you see it in 3D, a lot of those line art ideas don't translate well. So, and it'd be cool to do it in 3D, then apply the line art, which a lot of my team does at work right now. They build it in ZBrush, and then they'll do a lot of line work over it. And the combination is very effective and really sexy. And I sometimes think about trying to get there, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. No, you're on the roll.
I'm lucky that this is my the way we're going about this is like, this is my work to learn this. And that's why this is the best job. That's why this is the best job. Maybe that's why teams in general, because you need to keep learning.
I'll give my work credit for that too. They encourage us to spend time learning newer programs, evolving, even learning new disciplines in the company. Like if I wanted to become a programmer, never going to happen. Or they would encourage that. Or if I wanted to get, like I said, into character modeling and stuff like that.
I love learning stuff like coding and things that are like. Actually, it's funny because I for the longest, ever since college, when 3D programs were like $1 million suite that you had to buy, I always wanted to create
graphics.
Graphics machine. I always wanted to create, like, 'cause I had all these like grand ideas for stories that involved cityscapes and all these things, and I always just wanted to create these things just so I could then have them as a map for my 2D world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if for example, Batman's on this building and I put the camera angle here, the exact landscape is behind him. Yes. Be from, you know what I mean? And then you rotate. And I still want to do that. I'm working on one of my sci-fi thing I've been tooling around with is definitely one I want to involve that aspect, whether it's from ship design like Stuart Immonen used in the Next Wave comic or whatever, just enough to like give you like, because I mean we do a lot of work in comics and it's a lot of labor intensive stuff, and sometimes if you can just alleviate some of the repetition of having to like, I got to draw this car or this spaceship from a new angle. And you're like, I don't want to spend all day figuring this out. I want to do it and build it once and then rotate it and be expeditious about it.
Exactly.
Work smarter, basically.
Well, that's where I can see the true, and I guess that's kind of why I wanted to learn ZBrush is because, like I was saying, a lot of my guys are people on my team. Mm-hmm. They do a rough 3D, like they just mold like some clay in 3D, and it gets them that shape, it gets them their perspective, which are the hard things to kind of nail quickly for some people, right?
Yeah.
And so you get this feeling right, and then they go in and they carve in with the line and some neat, interesting design. And I think also what's neat about, like, say, ZBrush and Blender, I guess, is through the design of modeling in 3D, new shapes and new things pop up, like as like happy accents in a way.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So
it's kind of like when I think it was Sid Mead talked about this when we saw him in Vegas that one time. He was talking about how like he would just lay down shapes.
Right.
And then just like take that shape and then create something out of that shape, whether it's a vehicle or whatnot, right? You know, I've seen other artists do where they kind of draw something without looking at the paper, like scribble it, just scribble something, and then they just then go back to it and transform it into a 3D object, basically.
Or they'll just take photographs, flip them around, see new things. You know, look at things from a different angle.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, one of those handy techniques when you're drawing is to you flip it in the mirror, so you're like, oh, that's way off.
Yeah, I hate doing that move.
I know, it's really depressing how off you are sometimes. It really looks so good this way.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, are other people seeing it the way that I saw it in the mirror, though?
Yeah.
It's like all my characters look like they've been punched in the face from one side with a shovel, basically. So I just refuse to do that move.
It's easier to draw in a shovel.
Yeah.
Speaking of working smarter.
Exactly. I'm just, they got hit with a shovel.
I have a friend who was starting out as a writer in comics, and he was working with an artist that was, I don't want to name names because people figure out, or they won't. It's just rude. I don't need to. But he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And so my friend would send, and my friend's a great writer, and I can't believe that, you know, his stories would get butchered. But he would send the script to the artist, and the artist would send back something that wasn't even close.
Oh, really?
Really bizarrely, not even changing the shots and the angles, but changing what was in the panels.
Oh, weird. What?
And they were working remotely, back and forth, and he's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't pay you for this. I cannot pay you for this. And the guy finally admitted that he would just change things when he couldn't draw them.
What?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, I can't draw that.
That's ludicrous. What?
Well, try.
It's like I know you said a car, but I couldn't draw the car, so I put them on a horse.
Here's a bicycle.
It's like,
yeah, no, it was crazy. And he told me about this kind of in real time because he was worried he was going to offend his artist. So he was asking me as an artist, and I said, well, you know, sometimes when you get hold of a script, you're going deeper into it, so you notice more of the details that aren't going to work. Like you're going further down the process, so you're going to notice new. And he was like, yeah, I don't know if it's that. Right.
Wow.
All right.
Hey, Katie, so where can everybody see your work?
Right now, I'm really just, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and I post some of my stuff to Facebook, but I think Facebook has become like a more personal, like family machine since, I don't know, I guess since COVID. And I have a nephew now, so I need those photos, and I don't post baby photos of my own, so I don't feel like I'm reciprocating to Facebook. So I'm on Instagram at This Is My Face, and I'm on Twitter at KATIE SAWATSKY. And I don't get the chance to be on there nearly as much as I want to, but I do respond to everything that I am, you know, alerted to or tagged in. So I try and jump back in more. And then right now, our studio website, which is Bogwalker.com, it's just a landing page with a sweet logo, and you can sign up. Yeah, I did the logo and the background, and then the studio founder did some of the animation because he used to do a lot of website animation for insert large company. So you can go and sign up there if you want updates on the studio or the game, but I have not yet expanded that website.
Yeah, we have all your links in the body.
Yeah, they're all in there somewhere. I can't quite.
We'll add that one though. We don't have the landing page, so we'll add that.
Oh yeah, sure. Throw that in. Honestly, it's rudimentary, but I also have Bogwalker Studio on Twitter, but I think you can get that from the website too. It's there. I think it's clickable. Yeah, I mean, the less you hear from me in a period of time, probably the more prolific my posting and interactions are going to be weeks down the road. It's like I'm saving it up, and then it's coming forth.
Yeah, I go through phases myself.
Oh, there's a devil baby.
Yes, talk about this one a little bit.
So this is there's a few different classes of people, socioeconomically speaking, in our game world, and these people are they're standoffish, they are elite without having any wealth, and they've been inbred for centuries. So sometimes the ridiculous happens, and one of the more popular aberrations is a child that's really a devil, and it doesn't grow up; it just grows bigger.
Are they called the Kardashians, or what's the name of the species? I don't know.
So in game, we're thinking, like mostly you give birth to these things and you throw them down the well, and sometimes they crawl out of the well and they get in the game. So you have these giant babies coming after you.
Oh, God.
But also sometimes someone will just not be able to part with it, but also not really treat it so well. So there's horrors. If you are indoors, if you are in a bastion, as we're calling them in this game, it is a house of horrors. It's a combination of like the British royal family and like the island of Dr. Moreau.
That's awesome. I love that so much. I think we're getting close to winding up here. Rob's giving us some signals there in chat. I'm scared. No, thank you. Dax, free show tonight. See you next week. All right, Dax. Yeah, I was going to say, some of your architecture, is Hadid one of the architects I'm thinking about? You ever heard of Hadid? Is that the right term? Is that the right name?
I don't know.
How do you spell it?
Hadid.
Just traditional Hadid. Probably.
Yeah, if you see, if I'm saying it right, I'm sure you've seen this architecture.
I'm just going to write that down.
She's pretty kick-ass.
I you know what? I probably have a ton of it pinned on Pinterest, and I could probably make a Hadid board and keep it straight.
This and then not that. I love it.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely. Katie, it was awesome talking to you.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
I miss hanging out. I miss just hanging out. Right?
I'm going to give a shout out to the dragon, by the way, in Guelph.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I moved my beard.
I think Jen has recently reopened with all the new stuff. So, yeah, if you're in that area, go down and pick up some awesome comics.
In Guelph, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, kick-ass store, great owner. Yeah, it was awesome, Katie. I'm very excited to hear about all these projects, and your character ideas and stories are so wild. It's wild.
It's wild, and we're going to try and package it.
Yeah.
It's just so, this 2 hours flies by. It's so nice to just talk
and draw
to people and draw and not drone on, not my partner.
We'll have to get you back on in like a year or so when like the project's done and you're like multi-millionaire and you're like, oh, I don't know if I have time for you guys.
Listen, I'm going to say it out loud, and this might be cursing it, but we want to have a playable test build by December.
Oh shit!
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Yeah, exactly.
I said it.
You said it.
I think you should put that on the front page of the Bogwalker website.
Yeah.
Harass me December 25th.
We'll do like a little pull quote. Just put it right on top of our front page. You know, exactly.
As Mama Dad said.
Thanks for joining us again, Sarah. You've been awesome.
Katie, you are wonderful. You're so nice to join us.
You guys are great.
You're so wicked. And I like how your colors match our like branding.
Yeah, the pink.
It's hot pink men's shirts.
Exactly.
In style.
All right, shall we call it a day, guys?
I think so. Yeah, I think hang around, Katie. We'll say another goodbye in person, or not in person. I mean,
we're just in separate rooms.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait here.
All right.
All right. We're out.
Thanks everyone for coming again, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks again.
See you next Monday. All right. Cheers.
Bye.
That's fantastic.